Hey, it's Heaven again. So another conversation that I do want to have is about domestic violence and how it's not cool. So if you didn't know, and I'm just going to keep it real, I was in a domestic violence situation in 2020. Well, I actually got out in 2020, but I was in my own situation. And I feel in my heart that God's put me on here to tell you that if you're in a situation like that, really try your best to get out of it. Like, use your resources. Don't just leave because people around you are just telling you leave and just go. There's a way, because you kind of got to untangle yourself from the situation. You can't just walk out because it causes a whole lot of you, of course, you make this person mad, but when you just pick up and just leave without no planning or anything, you can really put yourself in danger. So what I can tell you to do is basically use all your resources. If you're a Christian, definitely pray, because that's how I did it. I went to Before I went to use my resources, I prayed to God and I was like, God, can you touch the lady that's going to be on the phone? Can you touch her? Whatever date we come up with, whatever plan, touch her heart so she can come up with the right plan for me. And whatever she says, because just touch her so I can know how I can untangle myself from this situation. So how I untangled myself from a domestic violence situation is I knew I was tired. Getting to a point where you're tired and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, really getting on your knees and praying to God and saying, God, I really mean this thing. I need your help to get me out of it. And being willing to follow God. Because after the first time he put his hands on me, it took me almost a year to leave him. He put his hands on me, and first time he put his hands on me was like September of 2019, and I didn't leave to July of 2020. And I felt like God did that for a reason, so I can untangle myself from him bit by bit by bit. Because he became unpredictable. He became unpredictable. Like, I never thought he would put his hands on me, but when he did that, he became very unpredictable. So I said, God, I need your glory and your protections and your angels around me to get me out of this, and I'm gonna follow you. So it took me a while to untangle myself from him. When you're in that situation and you're getting your way out, don't fight with them or anything. It was more like me saying, things he would try to really push my buttons and get a reaction out of me. He would come home all parts of the night and ignore my phone calls. He would come home the next morning after being out and ignoring me all night. Sometimes I didn't even bother to call because I knew what was going to happen. And it's more like, okay, baby, you had a good time. Trying your best to be nice because you confuse them, and really untying yourself and not caring anymore. Just not caring anymore and just trusting God to get you out of that. I felt like I end up leaving like a couple of weeks earlier than what I planned. And I feel like God had me do that for a reason and leaving. He couldn't even let me know. Because when I left, I had nothing but the clothes on my back, and I haven't went back. So when you leave, you have to absolutely know that you're going to be done. You cannot go back for nothing. Birth certificates, clothing, some pictures that might be sentimental. I would say that's the reason why you might need a plan, because you can take that time to unwrap yourself, take those things that's important to you bit by bit and put them somewhere safe, because that's what I did. Things that was important to me, I took them one by one and put them somewhere safe. I felt like I was in a situation, because I was the breadwinner, I was able to save a little bit more money on the side and have a bird nest of money. So when it was time for me to go, I can just go ahead and get an apartment and just plan it from there. Because I was a breadwinner, I didn't tell him about raises that I got. So I got 2 raises and didn't tell him about it. because I knew I would need that extra money to get me to where I'm going. You have to really blindside the person when you're leaving. And it's weird because it seems like they know that something's up when you're leaving, but they don't really know. And that's why it's important for you to blindside them. You cannot sit there and say, I'm leaving. And you cannot let them know nothing or say, you know what, I'm going to leave you. Because you can be leaving out in a body bag. You have to totally blindside them. In my situation, I went to work and just never came back. You have to protect yourself at all costs with weapons. And I wouldn't even say weapons because I don't have that. I have pepper spray and stuff. But, you have to really protect yourself around them and really pray. Because if you're a Christian, that's the only thing that can help you is really God to keep the person away from you. I can tell you the main reason, because people always be like, why don't she leave? Why don't you, if you have somebody that you know in that situation, why don't they leave? Because it's a scary situation. This person came into your life and 9 out of 10 you had sex with this person. So you have a soul tie. If you had low self-esteem, you're on an approval trap and a trauma bond with this person where they're putting you on a cycle. They're nice to you. They have you walking on everlasting. They're having you walking on eggshells. Then sometimes they're nice to you. Then sometimes they're not. And sometimes they get ticked off something little. And sometimes they don't. And they become very unpredictable. And that's why it's so scary to leave them, because you don't know what they may do. You don't know. And plus, some people, they're dependent on an abusive person. Like the abusive person is the breadwinner. And I tell you, the money ain't nothing. Use your resources and get out of that. Get out of it and pray to God and use your resources and get out of that. Because God make us all, especially women, we are his daughters. And he put us on this earth for a purpose. He don't put us on here to get snuffed out and get killed by a man, a sick man. And he don't want you in these relationships. Even if you marry the person, he don't want you in this. I tell you, get on your knees and repent for not seeking his counsel. Repent for bonding with them, especially having sex with them or even marrying them. Repent for that. There's so many things that you have to get off of you once God untie you. You have to break soul ties, covenants with the person. You have to go deep down and break covenants to the people that they might have cheated on you with and been with before in the past. And you have to break that all off. You gotta break that all off of you. And sometimes, and another thing that I also thought too, I was like, God, you're not gonna give me nobody else. I said, I blew this so much that you have to come off your throne and get me out this situation. Where's my future? Because I'm a female and I want a family, and I blew it so bad. You ain't gonna trust me with nobody. And you have to just trust God and get out of that. God would clean you up and give you to a good man if you want that. He would clean you up and give you the man that you deserve. I haven't experienced that yet, but I have faith that God's going to give me the man that I deserve, the godly man that he sees me, he wants me to be with. He's going to give me that. So I tell you again, every situation is different. So it's important for you to really reach out to your resources and make a plan of escape, because every situation is different. My situation may be different from yours or another friend's of your situation. I call it the snowflake effect, where every situation is kind of different. It may be similar in some ways, but it's different. So that's why it's important for you to reach out to your resources. And if you're a Christian, prayer too with your resources will really help you get out that situation. That's all I wanted to say. If you're in that situation, use your resources and use God to get you out of that, because he really don't want you in this situation like that. You messed around, you married a person, I don't care how much money he got. I don't care if he's bishop, pastor, so-and-so. If he's being on you and he's hitting you, God don't want you in that. Get out. get out. God will clean you up and give you to somebody else. And for men who's beating up on women, you need to stop it. Period. Stop it. Because how do you think that God, because we are all the women on here, and even men, we are all God's children, but we are God's daughters. How do you think that he does not feel about us like you would feel if you had a little girl and someone was punching on your little girl? Like men on the earth think about their daughters. How do you think he would not feel that way about us? So you need to stop it, because karma is not going to be always a weak woman or a woman. Karma will always catch up to you. What I learned from Rosalind Solomon, and that is, if you look her up, you can look her up on YouTube on here. Her channel is Rosalind Solomon. She says basically you gets nothing. You know, God would make you be on this earth with nothing. You would, if you get something, it get taken away. You know, you are cursed if you hit your woman, your wife. You are cursed. So repent for that and stop it. Stop it. Because karma will catch up to you. And we are God's daughters. And it grieves him to see you being on us. We are queens. And when we with you, we should feel like queens at all times. We should never feel unsafe with you. And you sitting there and you hit us. If you're hitting your woman, stop it and get on your knees and repent and stop it. Because you shorten your life every time you hit your woman. Especially you got a good one that cook and clean for you and you hit her. God is watching you. He is watching you. It may not be 2 years, it may not be up to 5 or 10, but you will receive karma for doing that. If there's a woman backwards, vice versa. Women, don't be hitting your men. God don't like that either. Period. You shorten your life doing that, especially when you got a good person at home doing what they got to do and you're beating on them. That grieves his heart. And you will pay for that. So that's all I came on here to say.